We showed you how the track champions became track champions here at the Louisville Motor Speedway with season championship night. Well, then last weekend began the first part of the post-race season action with one of the very big specials of the year. And it started out Friday evening with the Sam Swope Figure 8 Classic. Let's go to the videotape racing action and see some of the most spectacular racing we've seen all summer at the Louisville Motor Speedway, the track of the 90s. Taking a look at feature event action on Sam Swope night at Louisville Motor Speedway, and for the Winston Martin Landscaping Sportsman Division, a 40-lap feature event. Early portions of the event saw the number 1 of Donnie Sullivan leading the field off into turns 1 and 2. Back at second place, we have the number 19, I believe, of Bob Eames. The number 12 of Daryl Handley shoots up along the inside to challenge for second place as they scoot out of turn number 4 and down the front straightaway. Kevin Gapart in the 07 racing into turns 1 and 2, along with the number 90 of Rick Irwin and Reed Boone, along with Mike Grisilius, as that field of automobiles moves down the back straightaway and into turns 3 and 4. The race was caution flagged for an accident involving Kevin Gapart. We'll show you that during our greatest hits of the week portion of our program. Moving down the back straightaway, though, Sullivan still has the lead on the restart. But the 1990 Sportsman champion, Rick Irwin, comes up to second place. A great battle back at third between the number 12 of Daryl Handley, a top-placing rookie in the final standings of 1991, and the number 53 of Joe Williamson Jr., who races up along the outside as they move down into turns 3 and 4. The race was red flagged for a spectacular accident on the front straightaway, which we'll show you, involving Tom Dealey in our greatest hits of the week portion of our program. But the race was restarted, and Joe Williamson Jr., driving the Tumbleweed Tex-Mex Restaurants Racing Chevrolet, pulls around the outside and takes the lead from Donnie Sullivan, moving into turns 1 and 2, with the number 90 of Rick Irwin back at third place as they move down into turns 3 and 4. Reed Boone going fourth, and Chuck Barnes rounds out the top 5. At lap number 29, Joe Williamson Jr. found himself leading this event on this very special night. It's a 40-lap feature event, and Joe Williamson leads the field down into turns 3 and 4. But Joe Williamson Jr. thought it was only a 30-lap event. It's a 40-lapper, and Joe Williamson Jr. comes across the start-finish line, thinks he won the event, and lets out of the gas. Unfortunately, we still had 10 more laps to go, and Donnie Sullivan comes around the outside of Joe Williamson Jr. and retakes the lead with Rick Irwin coming up to second. Chuck Winders challenging for second place along with Chuck Barnes as they move back into turns 1 and 2. Well, I'll tell you, race fans, life is tough, but it's even tougher when you're uninformed. Winders eventually gets around Irwin to take over second place, and over the final 8 laps of the contest, challenged Donnie Sullivan on the high side and on the low side to try and take the lead. But after the white flag fell, signaling to the Kentuckiana race fans that there was 1 lap left in the contest, it was all Donnie Sullivan, the race leader, moving down into turns 3 and 4, and he comes out of turn number 4 to the checkered flag to collect his first career feature event victory at Louisville Motor Speedway. His car sponsored by Kentucky Custom Cycles, as well as B&R Speed Shop, Murphy's Air Conditioning and Heating Service, as well as the Engine Rebuilders. Congratulations to Donnie Sullivan. Across the line at second, it was Chuck Winders, followed by Rick Irwin, who finished up at third. Rick won the Mellow Yellow Dash for cash a little earlier that evening. Alan Webb, in his only his second appearance at Louisville Motor Speedway, came away with the fastest qualifying time of 16.084. Taking a look now at the start of the third 50-lapper for the Sam Swope Figure 8 Classic, as this lineup was determined by the 2 previous 50-lap qualifying races. Raymond Johnson, Rick Kelly, and Tony Anderson, who was that evening's fastest qualifier, earned the top qualifying spots in the first 50-lapper. The second 50-lapper was won by Roger Vincent over Tony Conway and Calvin Crane. That set the field for this bit of footage that we're watching now, the opening laps of the final 50-lap leg of the Sam Swope Figure 8 Classic. A side-by-side battle between Roger Vincent on the outside in the yellow Buick, and on the inside, the number 0 of Raymond Johnson as they race off into turns 1 and 2. Directly behind them, the number 89 of Rick Kelly of Brandenburg, Kentucky, and the 91 Figure 8 champion at Louisville Motor Speedway, Tony the Iceman Conway. Tony Anderson in car number 42 out of Parkway Village, Kentucky, also running in the top 5 early in this 50-lap finale. The race was red flagged for a spectacular accident at the intersection, which we'll show you on the greatest hits of the week portion of our program. The green flag comes back out on the event with Raymond Johnson and the number 0 in control. The number 16 of Rocket Roger Vincent running at second. He challenges Johnson going into turns 3 and 4. Just behind him, it's the number 42 of Tony Anderson, along with the number 41 of Buddy Vertrees, who started way back in the field. He works his way up to third place now as they scoot through the intersection and back into turns 1 and 2. Tom Winters in the X88 as well as Tom Wagner was also front-running cars at this portion in the event. Still inside the first 30 laps of the 50-lap finale, Roger Vincent, the race leader, but he's forced to stop at the intersection when Greg Witt in the number 79 could not get his Monte Carlo stopped. Car number 0, Raymond Johnson, out front by a large margin at this portion. During the late stages of the event, Buddy Vertrees was able to get up and challenge Raymond Johnson for the lead, but unfortunately he had a tire go low, and he went back into the mid area, had the tire change, and fell several positions back in the lineup. It was a one-on-one shootout throughout the final laps of the event, though, between the number 0 of Raymond Johnson and the number 42 of Tony Anderson. But one last time through the intersection does it, and Raymond collects his first major event at Louisville Motor Speedway, the Sam Swope Figure 8 Classic. The driver of the Portland Recycling, Auburndale Auto Parts and Machine, RC Radiator, and Powder Keg Restaurant Racing Chevrolet, Raymond Johnson comes away as the champion of the Sam Swope Figure 8 Classic, capping off an incredible summer at Louisville Motor Speedway because he came home second place in the 1991 championship point standings for the Auto Works Figure 8 division. Congratulations to Raymond Johnson. Across the line at second, once again, it was Tony Anderson, followed by Larry Hobart, Tom Winters, and Danny Blackwell. Taking a look at racing action from our Ken Tyree Auto Care Center General Tire Rookie Bombers. And in the first feature event, Raymond Slaughter took the race victory over Tim Crawford and Steve Mosley. And there's a good look at Slaughter in the 016 moving down the back straightaway. The second feature event was won by Carl Verling in his Car-Mart Racing Chevrolet over Sam Martin and Joe Johnson. And that's the way they finished last Friday evening on Sam Swope Figure 8 Classic Night at Louisville Motor Speedway. So Friday evening here at Louisville Motor Speedway was a very big night, especially for Raymond Johnson. And congratulations, Raymond, on your big win in the Sam Swope Figure 8 Classic last Friday evening. Well, I'll tell you what, just behind me here, we have the car of the 1989 late model champion and the 1991 sportsman champion, Chuck Winters. And right now it looks like the crew has their work all prepared. They're ready to go racing here tonight at Louisville Motor Speedway. And last weekend is the final tune-up for the biggest race of the year for the late model stock cars, the WAMC Bluegrass 300. So let's take a look at some of the early favorites going into this coming weekend's racing action. But before we do, only one other driver edged Chuck Winters for that Bluegrass 300 last summer, and that was the driver of Scott Walters. Right now, Scott Douglas is just down pit road a ways, standing alongside one of the up-and-coming superstars from around the Kentuckiana area, Scott Walters. So let's turn it over to Scott and Scott.
More race highlights coming up, but first we're going to take a moment as we get ready for the running of the WAMZ Metal Center Bluegrass 300 to talk to the defending champion, Scott Walters, the driver of the Roadrunner Video Club's Old Cutlass. And Scotty, coming into this event, it's a special one, I know, for you because there's a lot of big smiles after the way you guys won that thing last year.
Yeah, we was real happy we won the Bluegrass 300 last year, especially coming from a lap down.
Let's go back over that because, you know, this is the kind of race where that kind of thing's going to happen. You have an opportunity, but when you did get a lap down, I guess you guys, well, obviously you never gave up, but what was the mindset, if you can remember? Were you going to keep plugging? What did you think that, oh, we're just running for a top 5 now? What were you thinking when you went a lap down last year?
Well, the car was running strong from the very start of the race, and when I knew we got the lap down, and I just felt if I just kept on plugging that we'd be there at the end, so I just more or less just tried to drive as hard as I could and just see what the outcome would be, and luckily we got the win.
You know, you look at a situation, now you guys had some problems in the pits, but still your crew is regarded as one of the best around. The year before, Keith Gardner actually won this thing in the pits. So the pit work is crucial, and it's tough on all these guys because they're not used to having to change on the fly like that.
Well, that's true. I hope that being we run some ASA races this year, that our guys got a little more experience, and I hope that it just helps us all around.
You've also got a guy, as we've talked about, Billy Harris has been able to wrench a lot of cars over the years, and you've said before that that's a big advantage for you in a big race like this.
Anytime that a driver my age has a mechanic and a crew chief like Billy Harris, it just makes my job easier.
You come out, you've run ASA, you've been able to have a great year here at Louisville Speedway despite not racing every night, and yet so you come into this race, you've got to be feeling really confident as a driver in terms of just you behind the wheel. You really got to be feeling like you're as good as you've ever been and getting better.
Oh, when I go into these big races, Scott, I don't know, there's something in the back of my mind just tells me that we have the equipment and to go 300 laps without any problems. So I think that's a little bit of a boost for me. And then if I can just hold out 300 laps, we'll be all right.
Is qualifying crucial in this race?
I believe it is. If you can start maybe in the top 2 rows, you don't have to work your brakes as hard to start the race, and you have them at the end.
What about 300 laps? If we get this kind of heat, that's got to be hard on the equipment. This is equipment that at least on the average runs 40, 50 laps a night. You throw in a heat race. Is it tough on the equipment to throw in that extra bunch?
It's very tough on the equipment. It's hard on the engines, and you got to have your coolant system down pat and the air ducts on your brakes, and I'm going to have plenty of air duct on me, so I'll be ready for the 300 lapper.
Scotty, what about tires? I know there's been a lot of talk about tire wear this year. How many tires are you going to go through in this event?
Well, I'd say we'll probably have to make 2 pit stops for tires. The tires just didn't work out like they're supposed to this year, and to be on the safe side, we'll just probably change 2 sets of right side tires.
You know, I'm not even going to try and ask you to list any specific contenders, because when you look down the list, there may be 15, 20 guys that are legitimately have a chance to win this race.
Anybody that's been coming out of Louisville this 91 season can see how much competition we have, so I think it's anybody's ball game.
This is kind of like your all's, I guess, Super Bowl, isn't it? Your postseason event. This is the one everybody wants.
Just about like the Daytona 500, I guess, for the NASCAR guys. Everybody kind of looks forward to the end of the year, so I believe it'll be an exciting race.
Chuck Winders earlier this year got a win in the 100-lap Sportsman race, and he said it was such a relief for him to finally get one of those big trophies. You've already done that, so that kind of pressure's off, but does it make you want to get back there even more?
Yeah, who does? I just want to maybe, if I can't win, just finish in the top, 2, 3, 4 spots and just see I can do the best I can.
Scott Walters getting ready to try and defend his championship in the WAMZ Medal Center Bluegrass 300 this Saturday night at Louisville Speedway.
So some thoughts from Scott Walters as we go into this coming weekend's Bluegrass 300 here at Louisville Motor Speedway. Scott is the defending winner of that event. Well, we had our final tune-up before the Bluegrass 300 last Saturday night at Louisville Motor Speedway for the Winston Bush late model stock cars, the Ken Tyree General Tire mini stocks, and the Dial 1 Services Oval Bomber, all seeing action. Let's take a look at the videotape racing action from last Saturday night at the Louisville Motor Speedway. In the 40-lap main event for the Winston Bush late model stock cars, Jeffersonville, Indiana's Bill Webb on Hoosier night leads the field off into turns 1 and 2. The number 98, the 91 late model champion, Keith Gardner, runs at second. He's challenged up along the outside by the number 5 of Scott Walters, with Brian Baum going fourth on the field. Bill Kibble Jr. rounds out the top 5. Then Gardner turns it a little sideways over in the second turn. Baum motors on by to take over second. Bill Kibble Jr. comes up to third. Rick Irwin and Keith Gardner will battle back at fourth place. Well, without a doubt, Bill Webb of Jeffersonville, Indiana, dominated that 40-lap main event. A little short on footage here tonight, but they'll take the spotlight on next week's program when we show you the highlights and racing results from the Bluegrass 300. It was Webb out of turn number 2 and down the back straightaway in the Charlie's Food, Fun, and Spirits restaurant. The car also sponsored by Budget Rent-A-Car and Truck and Boat and Car Care, collecting his first feature win of the 1991 racing season. He's been out of victory lane way too long. Keith Gardner rebounded to finish up at second, and Bill Kimmel Jr., also from Clarksville, Indiana, finished up at third. Scott Walters at fourth, and Brian Baum rounded out the top 5. Race action now from the Dial 1 Services Oval Bomber Division, and it's car number 21, the Able Auto Parts Racing Chevrolet of Nick Reed, who came out on top in the first feature event over Rick Thomas and Keith Tennell. The second feature event, and mutual Bill Gooden and car number 69 won that event over Ray Bush and Rick Jones of Middletown. Feature event action from the Ken Tyree Auto Care Center General Tire Mini Stock Division, and the number 44 Gary Martin of Louisville, Kentucky in the Gen-Equip Construction Rental Equipment Company M&J Machine Shop Racing Ford Mustang took the victory over Mike Jones and Joe Brewer in the first feature event. It was Don Cooper in his Dodge Shelby Daytona holding off Mike Freeman as well as Tim Wyatt in the second feature event. But let's take a look at the results from the heat race action from last Saturday night at the track of the 90s. Some of the highlights and racing results from last Saturday evening at Louisville Motor Speedway. Well, let's take a look at both Friday and Saturday nights at the Speedway. Take a look at all the race winners, and let's judge from all the racing winners over the past weekend here at Louisville Motor Speedway and see who the judges think turned in the best overall performance at Louisville Motor Speedway. And for that, for the Fisher's Packing Company Top Dog of the Week award winner, let's go to Scott Douglas.
Well, time to honor the top racing performance of this past weekend at Louisville Motor Speedway, thanks to the Fisher Packing Company with the Fisher's Top Dog of the Week award. And this week, after some awesome racing, some great performances, the panel at Louisville Motor Speedway had trouble deciding, so we're going to hand out two top dogs to Raymond Johnson for coming away with a victory in the Sam Swope Figure 8 Classic, and to Bill Webb for picking up his first late model feature victory of the year. Raymond Johnson and Bill Webb, both Fisher's Top Dogs of the Week.
So congratulations to this week's Fisher's Packing Company Top Dog of the Week award winner. Well, we had a lot of great race winners here at Louisville Motor Speedway, and we had one major race winner here at the track. We also had the Fisher's Packing Company Top Dog of the Week award winner. And we also had people that finished with their race car parked right ways up on top of their trailers. That only leaves out one group, and those are drivers that had fender benders. And last Friday evening here at Louisville Motor Speedway, during the running of the Sam Swope Figure 8 Classic, we witnessed one of the greatest blazes on the racetrack due to a fuel cell gasoline tank leak on one of the Figure 8 cars, and that's been pulled out of the car. Let's take a look at it here. What we have here is a fuel cell out of the Figure 8 car of the number 23 of Stacy Kelly's. The fuel cell broke along this edge after his car and John Basham's collided at the intersection, and it began leaking fuel. We saved this scene for our final scene of the greatest hits of the week portion of our program tonight. We do want to stress that all drivers were A-OK following the accident at the Speedway, but I tell you what, we witnessed one of the biggest fires ever seen here at Louisville Motor Speedway. Fortunately, though, it was quickly controlled. Let's go to the greatest hits of the week portion of our program right now. From the Kentari Auto Care Center General Tire Mini Stock Division, Art Root moves into turns 3 and 4, holds the Volkswagen Rabbit wide open out of the fourth turn. Give us a break, Art. He hits the outside retaining wall and pulls down to the infield. From the Figure 8 division and in the second 50-lap event for the Sam Swope Figure 8 Classic, Jeff Roberts, along with the defending winner of the Figure 8 Classic, Pat Pierce, collide together at the intersection. Also, during that same event, the number X85 of Calvin Crane becomes a launch ramp for the number X1 of John Basham. From our Kentari General Tire Mini Stock Division, Keith Page in the number 62 spins around. Mike Royal in car number 114 comes into play here in the second turn area, and it's not over with yet. The number 27 of Tim Brown comes motoring along and plows into Royal's automobile. Same race, different lap, but then again, some of the same players as the number 54 of Mike Linden gets turned around. Then comes the number 27 of Tim Brown and the 62 of Page colliding once again, and it also involved the number 26 Volkswagen Rabbit. From our Winston Martin Landscaping Sportsman Division and in the 40-lap feature event, going into turns 1 and 2, Wade Johnson along with Bob Eames get together. Darrell Hadley, the 44 of Joe Lewis, is also collected in the second turn area of the Speedway. Also from our Sportsman Division, this bit of footage moving into turns 1 and 2, Reed Boone and Kevin Gaypart get out of shape going into the first and second turn. Gaypart rebounds, as does Reed Boone, but here comes Joe Williamson Jr. up along the inside, gets up onto the speed bumps, collides with Kevin Gaypart, and Gaypart collides with the outside retaining wall. Our next greatest hit, well, it's simply spectacular. From the Sportsman division, Bill Bird slowing on the front straightaway. Tom Dealey gets up on the outside of him and flips a barrel roll on the front straightaway. His car comes to a rest on all 4 tires, and Tom's moving around inside the car. He removes the safety net, and he will climb out of the automobile unhurt. During the running of the 50-lap finale for the Sam Swope Figure 8 Classic, the leader's moving out of turn number 4, and the number 90 of Rusty Kelly gets turned around. The 88 of Tom Winters collects him, and then he plows into the side of the X25 of Lee Mann. Also during the running of the Sam Swope Figure 8 Classic, Edgewood, Kentucky's Tim Blackwell blew the engine in his car, and when the engine blew up, it blew the hot oil into the driver's compartment of the car. Tim jumps out of the car while the race is still in motion and rolls around on the infield grass of the track trying to cool himself off. So it brings out the caution flag. The track officials come to Tim Blackwell's rescue, and he only received some minor burns from that. But I tell you what, I found a new nickname for Timmy Blackwell, and I'm going to say it's Hot Pants. But things even got hotter during the running of the 1991 Sam Swope Figure 8 Classic. At the intersection, the number 23 of Stacy Kelly collects one of the front-running cars, Roger Vincent, as well as Rick Kelly and Tony Conway at the intersection. A small blaze breaks out underneath the hood of the number 23 of Stacy Kelly's automobile. And the number 1 of John Basham's machine, just to the right of your picture there, is also stopped in the action as well. But things get a little out of hand just a few moments later. What began as a small spark turned out to be a major inferno, as these figure 8 cars are typically carrying anywhere between 10 to 16 gallons of high-octane racing fuel. And it just spread underneath the hot components of both race cars, and this major flame develops at the intersection, our most major fire in our 4-year history at Louisville Motor Speedway. Well, it seemed to be no match for the Halon fire extinguishers that the track officials handle, so the Okolona Fire Department that was on hand that evening at the Speedway was called to the scene. With the Okolona Fire Department well in place, they simply turned the water hoses on the burning gas fire, and this kind of rivals one of those Kiss rock concerts, you know. And it looks like the flames are spread quite a bit on the asphalt at Louisville Motor Speedway. But within just a couple of minutes, the fire was brought under control, and the wreckage was cleared away. But one of the most spectacular fires at Louisville Motor Speedway, and fortunately, no one was injured. Our thanks going out to the Okolona Fire Department. Once again, that was on hand at Louisville Motor Speedway. They are joined from time to time with the Fairdale Fire Department as well. Our thanks also going out to Commonwealth Ambulance Service and the very brave Louisville Motor Speedway track officials, again bringing this fire under control.
Well, just a friendly conversation, maybe trading a little advice here between several of the top late model drivers at Louisville Motor Speedway. But Frank Scott, and they are friends, they are friendly rivals and buddies in a lot of ways. But when they get here Saturday night, they all want the same thing, and that's that big trophy as the champion of the WAMZ Medal Center Bluegrass 300.
Well, Scott Douglas, I tell you, I believe Joe Williamson's probably telling a real good joke over there. I think that's what that's all about. But anyway, all the joking's off for the Bluegrass 300. Those drivers are going to line up. They're going to race 300 laps. And the catch to it is, or the punchline, so to speak, is that they cannot go 300 laps on one tank of fuel. Impossible. They're going to have to stop for fuel. And it kind of gives an extra added attraction to the race fan, because these crews will service these automobiles in our infield of the Speedway, not our usual pit area. So what happens is you'll get to see the automobiles come into the pit area, which will be located in the infield portion of the Speedway, and see the pit crews doing their actual refueling work. And I believe a lot of the cars will be changing outside tires. So it's going to be very interesting.
Well, you know, Scott Walters already said they're going to change tires twice, and that's going to really make for for a situation where there's going to be so much going on in there. A guy with Scotty's crew, Frank Kimmel's car, and his crew have been out doing ARCA races. There are several crews. The Bill Webb people have run in a lot of different circuits. We can go right down the list to a lot of these guys. Chuck Winder's bunch was in Florida this year, who are used to this kind of thing. I guess they've got an advantage, but that doesn't necessarily mean one of those types of cars is going to win the race.
Well, that's true, Scott. I mean, anything can happen in 300 laps. But what you want to do, what these crews want to do, is prepare themselves and be ready to make that lightning fast pit stops. And several of the crews that are used to traveling have special lightweight floor jacks. They use nitrogen tanks to fuel their impact wrenches, and they have their pit stops down to a science. And it won't take them as long to change tires and add fuel as it will, say, some of the other crews. So, again, you want to eliminate all possibilities of any errors and things like that in a race of that distance, a race that surely brings a driver and crew that much prestige. And a good pit stop strategy is the way to go. So some will have an advantage, some won't.
It figures, though, to be a wide-open race, and that's why we tried to avoid getting into too many favorites, because there are any of 15, 20 guys that can win this. You got to be here Saturday. We'll also have the Ken Towery Auto Care Center General Tire Rookie Bomber Rookie of the Year race Saturday, and you can go by the Medal Center or the Outer Limits and pick up a $2 off discount coupon this week to save money at the front gate. Frank, one more thing this weekend is Friday night. 5 divisions in one night. Hope you got those vocal cords ready for a busy night.
Well, I'll tell you what, Scott, 5 divisions on one night, that's going to be tough. A lot of oval racing, a lot of figure 8 racing, a lot of all the things that make racing very special here at the track of the 90s. 5 great divisions this coming Friday night here at Louisville Motor Speedway.
Now, we're going to wrap it up here. I just got to say one more thing before we go, though, because this is one of the most exciting programs we've ever had here on Channel 15. Incredible action. Well, they did it on the track last Friday, but Carl Blanton just did another awesome job of getting every shot. Everything that happened last week, you've seen here on the show tonight, and you're going to see it again when we come back next Wednesday night at 11:30. So till then, I'm Scott Douglas.
And I'm Frank Scott. Tune in each and every Wednesday evening at 11:30 right here on WKPC Channel 15, and then again at 7 a.m. on Saturday morning, same channel, for all the highlights and racing results from the track of the 90s, Louisville Motor Speedway. You have a good evening, and we'll see you at the Speedway this weekend.